Hi, friend. This is Alex McRobs, founder of the Mindful Life Practice, and you're listening to the Sober Yoga Girl podcast. I'm a Canadian who moved across the world to the Middle East at age 23, and I never went back. I got sober in 2019, and I now live full-time in Bali, Indonesia. I've made it my mission to help other women around the world stop drinking, start yoga, and change their lives through my online Sober Girls Yoga community. You're not alone, and a sober life can be fun and fulfilling. Let me show you how. Perfect. There we go. We're on. Hello. Good morning, everyone. All right, so I have us on the side here. Oh, there's Laura. Yay. Laura was just in our yoga class. Good morning, Laura. Nice to see you. Hi, Carolyn. Yay. It's so nice to see you. So we will, and we are both, Cathy and I are both Starbucks addicts, which is how we know that we are a match made in heaven for friendships.
Exactly.
We didn't plan this, but we both have our Starbucks. So
cheers.
Cheers. And if anyone else has their Starbucks out there, let us know in the comments. Laura says, happy 3 years soberversary, Cathy.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Oh, it's amazing. What a journey.
I think like 3 years ago today, when it was your day one, could you see forward to this point in time at all?
No, like I was in such a dark, like, you know, the sun's shining in on me right now and all of that. And it was probably a day like this outside, but I didn't know it, you know, like I was just in such a dark place and like physically, mentally, emotionally, just in pain. And I was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And yeah, no, like I couldn't have imagined what my life was going to be like. And I did it I put it down and said, well, I'll try again. Because I had tried, you know, I always tell people who cut back that I'm so glad that there's cut back tracks now. And, you know, like, or sober curious. And it's so funny how the landscape has changed in 3 years. And maybe there was, but I just didn't know it because I didn't want to label and I didn't want to join any group because I just consider myself weak. So I'm glad that because I kept trying and I kept not getting it and I was really beating the crap out of myself. And then it finally, the, you know, millionth time was the charm. So
yeah,
keep practicing.
And what was different about, like, what would you say was different on July 22nd, 2019 compared to like other times you had tried? What was the changing thing for you?
You know, it's interesting. I mean, I was in a relationship that was toxic. And it was my desperate way of keeping it together. And both of my kids were sick and tired of me. You know, they loved me, but you know, they loved me so much that they put a boundary in with me. And they were, you know, like 16 and 19. And I was so isolated and I was, you know, I still look back and I don't know, but I really feel like it was the universe. And I know that sounds woo woo saying, okay, just, you got to give it up. And you know, the longest I had made it before was 90 days. And I'm like, if I could make it, my niece's wedding was like in October. I'm like, I need to make it past her wedding. If I could do that, that will be huge. And I just, you know, meanwhile, like that guy and I broke up, you know, just all sorts of things. And it was my daughter's senior year, like her last year of high school. And I wanted, you know, I was present, but I just kept trying. But I just really, the other thing is I didn't go out. Like I didn't try to go sit at the local restaurant and sit and have, you know, water where I would usually have Chardonnay. I just didn't, I just let myself sit. And that was hard. I guess that would be the answer. I'm glad we talked about this because I didn't go do the things that I was like, well, I could go do that, but you know, I'll just won't drink. I didn't do that. That's probably it. I never, big moment right here. You're witnessing it.
And so I think that was a changing, pivoting thing for me too. When I quit drinking, was I remember like just withdrawing. You mean like just not going to the social things that you would normally do? I did the exact same thing, like canceled the birthday party, canceled the events, didn't go to the staff party, just until I got my like legs under me. And then when I felt like I could handle it, like step back into those situations that would normally be really triggering.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And then, I knew my niece's wedding would be, my daughter was coming with me, who, and I also knew like, it was going to be with family, and they didn't really know what was going on, my family at all.
Yeah.
I kept it very quiet. But my one nephew, when I sat next to him at the wedding, I said, listen, I'm not drinking. And I also gave up sugar, I gave up dairy, I gave up meat. So like I had to like go through a lot of things before I would get to alcohol. I would not recommend the Cathy plan, but I had a Cathy plan that was out of control, No, I didn't go see a doctor. That would have been logical. I didn't have a therapist. That would have been logical, all the, those things. No, I didn't do that right at first, but it was around the holiday time that I was like, I am really still shaky. And why isn't this like, just, why don't I just feel better? So I was like, well, let me get a therapist. I'm going to go to the acupuncturist. And, I slowly started to do things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just trying like holistic.
Yeah, I was really determined to do holistic things. And,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be part of, there was only one group in my mind, and I didn't want to give myself a label. And so I was really, really adamant that like I get angry if somebody would even mention it. One of my best friends would say, he would be like, why don't you go? And I'm like, I'm not like them. Like I would get really disdained. And so labels kept me out of getting community help for a long time.
Right. As I think they do for so many people. Like for me, that was definitely a barrier, was that I didn't want to label myself as an alcoholic. Like I didn't feel comfortable with using that label. And I think the stigma and the stereotypes and the beliefs we have about certain communities can totally keep us out of something that can be amazing and so supportive.
Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
then once I did, like at 8 months, when the world shut down, I'm grateful that I was, not drinking when that happened. And I ended up joining Laura McGowan, had free book club tours, and I got on there with the Luckiest Club, and I just sat like this. Well, actually, my camera was off for like a couple of months, and just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. I said I felt like I was like that sponge that gets so like imagine a big sponge getting like just so wet and so heavy. And it took me finally opening my mouth in a meeting, and slowly that sponge started to wring out. And then the still much water in that sponge. And then it was meeting you and the MLPC that wrung the rest of it out, so that I was completely a new, like a new fresh person. So, that I had to use every tool that was working for me and work it.
So incredible. And so I think it's about a year since we met as well.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that. So
happy anniversary to us.
Friendship anniversary. Exactly. So Cathy came into my life in, it was June or July. I'm trying to remember when I first got that DM from you, but Cathy was inviting me to be a guest on the show that she was co-hosting with Jeff Graham, who's a big part of the Mindful Life practice as well. And I ended up being a guest on their show, and then they were both guests on my show, and then they both joined on as Mindful Life practice members. And like, what do you know, a few months later, Cathy is in the yoga teacher training. And it was just one of those like serendipitous, like meant to meet type of moments.
Yeah. I mean, it was so funny because like Jeff, like I kind of like got to the point where I was like looking for the people for the guests, and I came across you on Instagram, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we must have this woman on. Holy mackerel. And I was just so excited. And then, I went to, and I had done yoga over the years, but I've told the story a zillion times, but I could barely walk when I met you. And I went to one of your classes, and I kept the same as I did in sober community. I kept my camera off. I didn't want anybody to see me because I was embarrassed. And, I finally put my camera on one time when you did like a journal and yoga thing, and said, the weirdest thing came into my mind. that I want to be a yoga teacher. And then like a month later, not even like you were like, have you thought about it? I'm like, Alex, I can't even walk. How can I do this? And you were so encouraging. And that was life transformational, doing the yoga teacher training under you. It really, it changed my life. It gave me a whole new passion. I always say my dad, my dad was a golfer, and he went on golf trips and always said it never rained on a golf course. And after Mexico, I've written it up, but I haven't posted it yet, but I have something I wrote about how it never rains on a golf course or a yoga mat. And I found my version of golf trips with yoga, and found my people because of this community. So
Oh my
it's so
God.
cool.
I've just gotten shivers. Oh, that's so beautiful. Never rains on a golf course or a yoga mat. Oh, I love that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, so fast forward. So Cathy did the yoga teacher training, starts running yoga programs with the Mindful Life practice. And then she came up with an idea a couple of months ago. And so for those of you that are not part of the Mindful Life practice and you don't know a little bit about it, I'm just going to give a little. So we have this yoga membership, we have yoga teacher trainings, and then I've been running these 30 and 60 day sober girls yoga challenges, which are amazing because they help women quit drinking, develop a yoga practice, develop a meditation practice, but then the challenge ends and then it's just kind of like over, like they're with me for 2 months and then it's kind of done. And so Cathy came up with this idea and this program that she started running for the first group in April this year. And I'm going to let Cathy tell you about it because it's just been amazing.
Yeah. So, you do the 30 and 60 day challenge, and you let me be part of it. Like, because I'm a I call it meditation, like what we do, like people come together and it's a sober circle. And what I love about it though, is it's sober curious people. So like, maybe I don't know, I'm just taking a look at it to sober people. But I remember thinking, okay, after this is over, what happens? And I've been part of other programs, like a 12-step program and all that. I'm like, they're going to need more. So that's, I started yoga teacher training, the level 300, which I describe to people as, when you do yoga teacher training, how I have described it is the 200 hours, your first one, it's like an undergraduate degree. The 300 to me, like a master's degree, and it's specific, and you're doing the mental health and substance abuse. And the very first thing you taught us, and you're probably laughing on the inside and trying to keep it together, because I'm saying all this and I'm like Alex's worst student for attending this class and doing homework. But you taught us about the koshas, which is the 5 layers of self. And that was it. It was like my bam of, that's what we need in this program here at the MLPC or under Sober Yoga Girl. So you and I and Lee and and Rachel, like we all kind of met and came together and developed this like 108 day program from beginning to end, where we do, so every week there was a topic under the koshas, and we do not just journaling, but journaling, reflection of the koshas, which the koshas are your physical self, your energetic self, your mental health self, your wisdom self, and then you eventually get to your bliss. And how do we get to that? And then, so I felt like, what I felt like during my journey is there was such a disconnection between my body and my mind during my sobriety, like in all my life. But then really in sobriety, and doing yoga really connected all of that for me. And so that's where this, like, I felt like, so every week what we did is we did a journal that had a few things. It had a journal prompt. It had the kosha prompt, where you would think every day, like, how are my koshas going? Where am I, like you would shade in. And then affirmation for daily things, and then a body scan every single day to check in with your body. How are you doing? And so you had just this for 108 days, you're connecting to your whole self. So that, and in the group, we had 10 women who, some of them are still on cutback. But I was asked the question when we were in Mexico by Lee. She said, so what's been your favorite part about this group and what's been going on? And I said, I have seen women go from self-loathing of themselves to self-love for themselves in a community where they rose each other up under having this and connecting daily with each other. And how we connected daily is we have the WhatsApp, but we also had meetings twice a week, and they could be part of the MLPC program as well, Sober Yoga Girl program. but it just really, it really helped everybody to just really start walking through their version of getting to know themselves.
So
I don't
amazing.
answer, but
Yeah.
I don't think I covered everything, but that's the short version.
And so I've been watching it from the sideline because so I did the 30 and 60 day, and then quite a few of the women who did that from January, February, then jumped into Cathy's program. And I've just been part of the WhatsApp group and watching it evolve. And I'm like, man, this is amazing. And as I'm watching it go on, I'm like, this feels to me like, I think I thought, okay, 30, 60 days, and then they can integrate with the community. But like, you need more support and you need to be part of this little group. You need to be held. And I was thinking the other day, it's almost like a retreat group, you know, like we have our retreat group from Mexico that got so close and connected. 12 women were so bonded for life. And it's like you have your little retreat group, but you have that group all year, holding you, connecting with you, supporting you on WhatsApp in the meetings. You don't even have to make every single meeting. And so Cathy's got her 108-day thing going. I have the 30, 60, and then basically what we've been talking about between me and Cathy is like, okay, the people that are in our current group don't want it to end. Like they want
like,
more.
Hey, what's happening next? And I'm like, that's a really good question, you know? And you know, it's so funny. The Mexico people would ask me about the Costa group and I'd say, it's like this, but virtual. Like it was like, that's so funny. You and I never even talked about it, but that's exactly how I described it. Because I just think it's like this intimate, like the other thing is because it's all women, there was nothing that was sacred, you know, like we talked about everything in that group and that was so cathartic, you know, and the group helped it, you know, everybody's like, oh, it's Cathy's group. And I'm like, oh, heck no, this is our group. And they are the ones that ran with it. And they're the ones that said, but what's next? So go ahead.
Okay. So we came together and had a meeting to discuss this. And Cathy and I basically, I think we're on the same page on this, that both of us agree that what has helped us long-term stay sober is helping other people. And Cathy would describe that as part of like, you know, the 12-step or the AA model is giving service. And I've thought about that in terms of me, you know, doing my podcast, running my Facebook group, I did free sober yoga for a long time. I still do lots of free classes. And Cathy said this idea to me, you know, we've thought about what about service? And there's a word in Sanskrit called Seva. And Seva means selfless service. And basically, the people of ancient India thought that it was really important for your spiritual health to be giving back and providing service to your community, which is like basically the same concept. So we thought, what about stringing it all together? So we have our 30-day challenge, our 60-day journey. Then we have our 108-day recovery, which takes you to about 6 months sober. And then we have our Seva program, which is a 6-month program that's going to help guide you through a full year of sobriety. And so it's an ongoing thing where you start off, you can just commit to like, okay, I'm going to do 1 year. So I'm going to do 1 month sober. I'm going to do 2 months. And then maybe you're enjoying this and you're like, I'm going to keep on going on. And we basically have something to go along the way all the time. So we have the new Seva program. And do you want to speak a little bit about that, Cathy?
Yes. And so, you know, I just thought that word was so beautiful when you came up with the Seva program. And that's what I said. Like when I was, you know, I'm in, you know, other programs and it's what I ran the meetings and I stepped up as a yoga, you know, doing yoga teacher training. I found my voice, you know, more of who I am and helping others. And, you know, like there, again, the 10 women that are in the original program, the OGs, as they're calling themselves, you know, some of them are still on cutback track, but you know, here's the thing, when I've been in other programs and let's say, you know, I did the 12 steps, I'm still going back to meetings and I'm hearing from the newcomer and that helps me so much. And they, you know, I'm helping them and that keeps this very real and really grounded. And so my challenge to the original group is bring what you have and let's carry this forward wherever you're at in your journey, because we're going to help you. Again, let's build this, you know, I really believe there's no other mind, body, soul program out there than what we are doing, especially for women. You know, we are addressing things such as the trauma. You have taught us trauma-informed yoga, trauma-informed conversations, inner child work, boundaries. These are things that are not really, you can go to a program, but you got to pay $4,000 for it or whatever. We are putting this as part of a community and connecting your mind and body with this. And how do we carry each other through these things? And so I just feel like the Seva program is the next, and we just keep building this beautiful community of women that are raising each other up, saying, yeah, I had that happen to me too. Or me, you know what, I haven't, but I know somebody else, and we're growing this together, because this is the community where I became whole as a person. And I feel the least I can do is give that back. And everybody who has joined this community has helped me so much to get to today with the 3 years. And it's the least I feel I can do in giving back. And I just think the Seva program makes sense. And then if people want to become yoga teachers or bring other talents to the table, this is a platform to grow underneath this. But we're looking at things from the science-based way of the mental and the physical, which I think is, and the spiritual. And I think that's very important. Did I answer that? I feel like I'm not answering any questions because I'm so excited.
I think it was a great answer. I think it was a great answer. Yeah. So basically, that's exactly right. So we've come up with this full year program, and we're so excited about it. And the way it's going to work is every 30 and 60-day challenge is still going to start with me. So if you come in and you do a 30-day or 60-day alcohol-free program, it's going to be me leading it. However, there's going to be a lot more involvement from other people in our community. So people in the Seva program are going to have an opportunity to keep coming back to these meetings. They're going to get to be mentors, one-on-one to individual people. They can help in other ways around the community. And people in the Seva program are also going to have their own weekly meeting, and it will be led by either me or Cathy. And it's going to be all about the 4 aims of life, which is basically the whole goal of life as outlined by Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras. And so the Seva people will still get their own little group, but they'll also get to be more integrated into the other groups. And then after the 30 and 60-day challenge and journey finish, for people that are curious and want to carry on, that's where Cathy's program is going to take over. And so we have the 108 days, which will move you through months 3, 4, 5, 6 of sobriety. And then the Seva program is for 6 months onwards. And so it all is weaving together to make this like amazing full year thing that we're so excited about.
And, the other thing I was thinking too, Alex, is like, there are a lot of times the women would say to me, I didn't even get to the journal this week. There's so much information you're giving, and that's okay. We can only, we have to take what we can right in that moment and keep moving. And, that's the importance of the Seva program. I was saying to the original group, now we can go back and maybe you'll have more time for the journal and reflecting it in a different way. And it just helps us, as I've gone through other programs, when I go back, it's like it hits you in different ways and different spaces. And just like you said, did you think 3 years ago, you'd be anything like this? I had no clue. So it helps just to keep saying you keep coming home to yourself over and over and over again. And I think that's the only way to find your home, is to keep coming back and layer after layer finding it.
Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful. Sue has just commented on the feed. Sue says, how do we sign up and pay? Yay, Susan. So what it will look like right now. So I have a current group right now that is in the middle of the 30-day challenge. So these people are going to carry on with the 60-day challenge, whoever wants to in that group. And then I'm going to be starting a new 30-day challenge next month. So for anyone that hasn't done the challenges, I'll be starting next month at the start of August. At the same time, our next Seva program is going to start in August. So anyone that's been through the challenges and the koshas already with me and Cathy can jump into the Seva, as well as some of our longer term members. Like if you've been a member of the Mindful Life Practice for a long time, done some of the YTTs, we can definitely let you into like this cohort of the Sevas if you want to. The next group of 108-day recovery with Cathy, I believe, is starting at the end of September. And the reason why we have it set up that way is so that this 30 and 60-day group can jump into the 108 days. So if you're in the 30-day challenge right now, I can send a link to carry on with the 60-day and then the 108 and then all the way through into the Seva.
Phenomenal. Yeah, I don't remember if we said beginning of September or end of September, but we'll let you all know. But we want to keep the momentum going, because I mean, and I don't know if anybody from the original group, we're calling it the kosher group, the original group, you know, they just felt strongly like, let's keep it going. And they're growing and they want you. So, and I also really encourage anybody who has been part of the community in the past, we need you,
We need
because
you.
you know, we need you to come back and use the tools that you have, because you know, this is going to help grow. I feel like what we are doing right now is really groundbreaking, you know, things that have not happened in this world of emotional sobriety for women, and bringing us home to ourselves in a simplistic way. You know, what we might have rolled out to you today might have sounded complicated, but really all you have to do is just show up and we'll lead you through it. You know, like, we have titles for it, we have whatever, but you just got to show up. And we need more leaders, and we know that there's tons of leaders in this community, and you know, this is our time to like rise up together as women and say what we need, and not put labels on things, you know, just to say I'm leading a holistic life, coming home to myself as a woman and finding out who we are. It's a time, especially in the States right now with what's going on, we need women coming together. So, you know, and helping each other. No more barriers. Let's break that down, and let's have, you know, bonding. So, yeah.
Oh, you're so inspiring, Cathy. I just have shivers.
How are
This was
you?
amazing. This was
I
so
was just
fun.
thinking, I'm like, isn't it amazing to me? Like we are 20 years apart, but you're my mentor. Like, you know, like I was like, if anybody asked me, like, you know, what's your secret to keep going, I would tell them, find somebody who's 20 years younger than you to be your mentor. That would be my secret. At the age of 50, find a 30-year-old to be your mentor, everyone.
Oh, you're amazing, Cathy. Oh, and you know what? This is one of the things that I love about this community so much, is like, even though it is sober girls yoga, we have women of all ages.
Right.
And it's so incredible. Like, we have people from as early as like our 20s to, we have people in their 60s. And so it really is for anyone. And we also have people like from all over the world, all different races. We have people with different sexual orientations. Like, it's just a really tremendously diverse community, which is really cool.
And we need, you know, we need you. We need women of all of that. And, you know, and it's funny, because when I heard the word girl, I was kind of like, but you know how I look at it now? It's, if anybody is questioning like why sober yoga girl, is because we're doing inner child work here, and we're coming back to the little girl that we are and that we wanted to be, and that the world tried to change us. So how I look at it is, we are, you know, like, girl is the really, you know, I know a lot of us want to say women and blah, 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 but girl is the appropriate title for this, for that reason.
Oh my God. Oh, that just gave me shivers. You're amazing.
So are you. Oh my gosh, this
awesome.
is the best way. Can I just read something really quick? One of my friends, Cathy, so he won't be on here because it's sober yoga girls, but he sent me for my third soberversary, and I didn't open it till this morning. And it says, one day it just clicks. You realize what's important and what isn't. You learn to care less about what other people think of you and more about what you think of yourself. You realize how far you have come, and you remember when you thought things were such a mess that you'd never recover. And then you smile. You smile because you're truly proud of yourself and the person you fought to become. Thank you, Mark. Oh my gosh, so
beautiful.
Sweet.
Oh, that's
so sign
nice.
up or DM us or whatever, you know, however many questions you have. You know, I'm willing to have meetings with people who, or if, you know, I know people in the original group would be glad, I think, to talk to, you know, a lot of them would be glad to talk to other people because they're ready to roll, like to do the Seva program. So let's get this rolling, everyone.
Let's get it going. Yeah. Woo! So I'm going to be posting about like the links to everything in this group. I'm going to be sending an email as well today. So look out for that. The groups are going to be a cap. So there's going to be maximum 15 in every single cohort, just so we can provide that safe little container. So I'll send all the info about that and then we'll get started.
Woo! Thank you so much, Alex. I'm going to go to a coffee shop now and meet another sober friend because I haven't had enough coffee. And that one I love they actually, their password is not Starbucks. Hashtag not Starbucks is theirs. So I love every kind of coffee.
That's amazing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Really appreciate you.
Hi, friend. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Sober Yoga Girl podcast. This community wouldn't exist without you here, so thank you. It would be massively helpful if you could subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast so it can reach more people. If we haven't met yet in real life, please come get your 1-week free trial of the Sober Girls Yoga membership and see what we're all about. Sending you love and light wherever you are in the world.